jump in the back of the pickup truck and join us for a ride back to the good old days.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
A nostalgic podcast based on entertainment and memories from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Come with us and revisit the best time ever. So jump on your BMX bike, pop a heavy metal tape into your Walkman, and hang on tight while you go back to the past with us.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Kids are starving in Japan, so eat it. Just eat it.
Hey all, welcome to another episode of Pastimes at 80's High. Awesome one for you today. We are going to do our favorite foods, a buffet, if you will, from the early 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Just, not really a hodgepodge, so to speak, but just going to get a lot of things out there. I have Kevin today. Kevin?
Good afternoon.
Yes, Donald.
Hey, how you doing?
Good man. And brother Mark.
Hey there.
And I am AJ. And Mark's going to have the honors today, but before we kick it off, I just want to get a few things out there, and bear with me if you might. But first, if you could check out our website, it is pastimes at 80shigh.com, and that is 80S. Then our email address is pta80h@gmail.com, pta80h@gmail.com. And then on one other side note here, all you Facebook users, if you want to check it out, we just are launching a page called Past Timers at 80's High. And that's going to be where we're going to hope to get a lot of threads there to converse with one another as fans and hosts, and should be a great time. So check that out if you will.
Like and share.
Yes, indeed. Please. What is it, Kevin? Smash that like button. Don't you love that?
And I will hurt you if you say I hate when people smash that like button. How about I smash your teeth instead?
Exactly. It fires me up too.
That's right.
That's why I had to say it. Pencil neck geeks. Awesome. So anyway, the categories today will be fun, a little random. There's a couple in there that will be just kind of, our personal households growing up, but that's okay. What we're going to start off with today with you, Mark, is our favorite breakfast cereal.
All right. Well, in 2025, I no longer eat cereal. I have not eaten cereal since I was a child, honestly.
Wow.
But I used to eat it like crazy. Back in the day, I used to love going to Ruggles Supermarket on Saturdays and going through the cereal aisle. But I'm going to go with, it's a Captain Crunch flavor that no longer exists. It was called Vanilla Crunch.
Crispy, creamy-colored globes of goodness. And the best part is, it's vanilla flavored.
A vanilla-flavored breakfast cereal. Don't that beat all?
I certainly hope so. Vanilla Crunch is a whale of a cereal.
Ooh.
Vanilla Crunch. Yeah, it was very nice. I know vanilla sounds boring, but it really isn't. And it was just really, it was very crunchy and very vanilla-y. And, it kind of reminded me of another one that you guys probably never remembered, which was Twix. Not Twix. That's a candy bar. Quisp.
Quisp. I remember
Quisp.
that. Yep.
Yeah, well, I hope you guys aren't picking that one, but that had the guy with the little propeller on him.
Yes.
But again, cereal. It was a complete breakfast as long as you had juice, toast, and milk with it. Every single time.
Art of a complete breakfast.
Yeah, and I would be sitting there eating my cereal just in such a great mood and looking at the side of the box. And, of course, you always want to get to that prize at the bottom.
Naturally.
I was going to say, is that why you stopped eating cereal now these days? Because the prizes aren't any good anymore? Is that the...
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I don't remember why I did.
Well, that's funny to me. That's funny for a reason, but I'll wait for my turn.
Well, yeah, you're next, and that was my number one pick. So
awesome. What? Say it one more time, though. Captain Vanilla. What?
It's a Captain Crunch, but it was called Vanilli Crunch.
Vanilla
Or
Crunch. Vanilla Crunch.
Not vanilla. I thought it was Vanilla Crunch, but it's Vanilli Crunch, as in Milli Vanilli.
That is one thing I've never seen that one. That's awesome.
Well, yes,
Great
because
pick.
again, I'm 60 and you guys are in your early to mid 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
It
why
was probably not real vanilla. It was an industrial chemical, so that's why they had to call it vanilla.
right.
Yeah, probably.
Word it differently.
But you children at home, make sure you have your toast. Oh God.
Marky Bunker, folks.
Please don't draw me no diaphragms, huh?
Yes.
Juice, toast, and milk.
Yeah. Which I do have a Marky Bunker button in the works, which is why I asked you that question earlier, Kevin.
Wait, I have a question. I kept saying versatility. Is it versatility or versatility?
Well, it's Marky Bunker. We'll find out.
I think it's versatility, but I kind of like versatility.
Yeah.
Right? I think that might be a new word, Mark.
Right?
Good on you.
At least here on Pastimes at 80's High.
With my favorite uncle, Uncle Ted, you know? So,
Right.
all right.
Is it sexual harassment or sexual harassment?
All right.
Depends on if you
Vaser vase, right?
Yeah.
It will not be tolerated, but it will be graded.
All right. So to me, and why I was saying it was funny, Mark, is the fact that I had 2 bowls of 2 different cereals in the night last night.
Wow.
Yes, I have cereal quite often as I am off of keto at the moment, but I live on cereal at the moment. I love it. Love it to death. So just to go back real quick, just before I take my pick, these are things that don't necessarily have to be extinct because many of mine are not.
The road I'm going down.
Right. So it just had to exist then, and you had to love it. That's all. That's all. So anyway, I have so many on my list. I just popped a bunch of them in, but for me, I have to go with Boo Berry. And
Boo Berry. They still make that?
I think they do. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
But here's the kicker.
Maybe on Halloween.
They do, I believe, still make Count Chocula. But Boo Berry was always my favorite. I always wanted to hit people that liked Frankenberry. And but it was just fun. The commercials, it was Boo Berry, and then Count Chocula was the Count, Frankenberry, Frankenstein, of course. But they had great little commercials. I would sit with a trough like Jethro, in front of the TV, Saturday morning cartoons. Rifle it in with a tablespoon. I would use like the whole effing box of cereal for breakfast, watching the Super Friends. What a joy and a memory. I can still see the yellow cookie bowl. It was like a mixing bowl that I would eat it out of.
Yeah.
And just sit there, Indian style, and
of course, right in front of the TV.
It in. Don't anybody say crisscross applesauce.
We don't say that anymore, AJ.
Yeah, I do, because that's what it was called.
Exactly.
Yes. But Boo Berry, just loved it. Loved it. Yep. So do you, Dongo?
Right. It is available. Sorry, Dongo. It is available on Amazon and a limited edition for $6.99 for a box of Boo Berry.
Yes, and it expired in 87.
That's hence limited edition.
Right. Awesome. Go ahead, Don.
All right, so I'm going to go with Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. Yes, that was my second one, Donnie.
Oh, I love them. They're awesome. There's a short window that you have to enjoy them before they turn into like a mash of some kind. But so you have to eat them fast, which is easy enough to do, but they're just massively sweet. But loved it as a kid because I couldn't get it much. Parents were anti-sugar cereals.
You were the Cheerios house.
Yep.
Shredded wheat
Cheerios,
which we'd put sugar on the Cheerios. So I mean, it was
of course
natural sugar, but yeah,
you had
put
to
sugar on the Fruity Pebbles.
Birch's red food color number 5 or whatever it is. That is shortly to be banned. But
right. Awesome.
Yeah,
I always liked them better than the cocoa.
Yeah, Cocoa Pebbles not good.
No, and now they have like the marshmallow pebbles, and as a matter of fact, I did have a box of them very recently. And that's a great pick, Don, because that was the second one on my list. And I still have another one on there. But Kevin, let's go to you. And then
that would have been mine. The Fruity Pebbles is like, and we were definitely not a like sugar cereal household at all. It was a special treat if you had something that wasn't grape nuts, because I wanted to rip my gums apart.
Mouth ripped to shreds.
Right.
Do you remember the what was this something? Oh, I can't remember. The guy was some naturalist or something. He did ads for grape nuts. You can eat a pine cone. I'm like, yeah, but there's food.
I'm Yule Gibbons. I've spent years learning about natural foods. Ever eat a pine tree? Many parts are edible. Natural ingredients are important to me. That's why post grape nuts is part of my breakfast.
I don't get it.
Right.
So my pick, and I'm glad that it made it this far, because I don't know, it was just one of my favorites. I don't know what it is, but Golden Grahams.
Yeah,
still one of my
I
favorites.
forgot about that one.
A little brown sugar honey mixture came back in and came in 76, and it's still going strong today. Probably again, no actual food product in it anymore, but you know, it's just an interesting flavor, honey and brown sugar. But yeah, they had a very distinct flavor to them, and it was kind of sweet, but not sickening sweet. I don't think like some of the other ones. So that was Golden Grahams. That was my jive.
Still one of my favorites. Still buy them quite often. Since nobody picked it, I just did want to get this one out there because it was the third one on my list, and that is Dig 'em.
Sugar Smacks?
Honey Smacks. Yeah.
Honey Smacks, yeah.
Yep.
But they used to be called Sugar Smacks, I think.
I think they might have had two different ones. Same brand, same frog, but I think they made both of them. We could go forever on cereals, so that'll be a category that will come up more and more, I'm sure. But anyway, all right. So we're going to you, Mark, for number 2 here, which is favorite, or one of our favorite, cheap beers.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. I'm not sure if this is considered a cheap beer or not, but this is the one I wanted to talk about, and I'm digging my feet in. I'm going with Tuborg Gold.
Yeah.
Bottle. Wow. Drinking it out of a bottle. It was definitely reasonably priced. It wasn't a higher end beer, but oh my God, it was so refreshing. And I don't know if you remember me drinking this in Hinsdale. That's when I was drinking it, AJ.
I don't.
And, you know, back then it was before I started drinking a really lot, but I would go in and drink a 6-pack or so of Tuborg Gold, watching the Patriots, that great year they had until Super Bowl 20. But and it was just refreshing as hell. Absolutely refreshing. One thing I definitely want to say about cheap beers back in the day, there are so few options in the 21st century. I mean, with all the craft beers coming in. But I remember a moment at Corey's Market, or I don't know if it was Simon's at that point, but John Simon was working there and was like, people buy that stuff? He says, well, yeah, more bang for your buck. It's like, oh, okay. I didn't really register with me until I started drinking. But there were so many cheap beers. I mean,
which we're going to get to. Don't say any.
Well, I mean, the main ones were Bud, Schlitz, and Miller.
Okay, so you're going to say them anyway. Go on.
They're not cheap beers from back. All right, whatever. But I'm just saying, I mean, if I would have had to pick an actual cheap beer, it would have been Schaefer, which you hate. So okay, edit it then. If you're how can you possibly say Schaefer?
Because that's my pick. Holy fuck! That is a riot.
You hated Schaefer. You told me you.
Can I finish?
We're just gonna skip over you, AJ. There's no point. We'll go right to Donnie.
All right, fine. Just
if I had to pick a cheap beer, it would be Schaefer. AJ's choice.
Okay.
All right.
Stop.
It was just funny that you picked mine.
I did.
Awesome pick, Mark. Can you spell that one for me? Tuborg? What is it?
Tuborg. Tuborg Gold. And they had
don't remember it.
No, I mean, it was around briefly. I used to buy it in Brattleboro, bring it back, and just enjoy the hell out of it.
Oh yeah, that's
Ain't it
right.
green?
Because you could drive over the border and purchase there.
I know. I was old enough. I mean, I was actually 21 when we lived in Hinsdale. But no, but we could. David could go to the bars with me over there. It was a lot of fun.
That was awesome.
So yeah, Tuborg Gold is my favorite quote cheap beer. And
awesome. All right. So to me then, and that would be Schaefer. I'll get to the points here, and that is the fact that you could buy a 6-pack of Pounders, the 16-ounce tall boys, at the Guilford Mobile Station where we lived at the time for $1.99. All right, so $2 for a 6-pack of Pounders. Now,
bang for your buck.
Yes, bang for your buck. And I absolutely loved this beer. However, my point being, I loved the first 12 ounces because by time you got to the last 4 ounces, it was so fargan terrible that you couldn't even stomach it. You'd have to plug your nose and rifle those last 4 ounces because it was so bad. But just the fact that it was $1.99, you know, we're getting quarters out of our car at this point.
Yeah.
You know, and
Tell
just
me about it.
And this is when mostly Donnie, Todd, and I at this point hanging out with Ben, and Ben would have to buy it for us. So he'd go in and grab a case, and we'd each get a 6-pack of it. Loved it. Schaefer. And I don't know, do they still make it?
I haven't seen it. I'm not sure if they still make it or not. But one thing I want to say to you, AJ, the biggest problem that you had is you weren't drinking fast enough. That's not Schaefer's problem.
Right.
If it's warm, by the time you get down there, it is all on you.
Yes, you are correct, sir. I only had 6 of them. I had to make them last the night. But anyway, that's my pick. So do you, Donald?
Cool. Yeah, it's hard because when we were kids, like I didn't like the cheap beer. Like I didn't like I won't name some because I don't want to ruin anybody's picks, but they were disgusting. Yeah.
Right.
I like the high quality stuff. And now some of the what I would call cheap beer is normal stuff. And
right.
You know, I like the high test IPAs. We're in the golden age of beer right now. It's magnificent. But yeah, you can get a 4-pack of IPAs for the price you would get, you know, a 30-pack of some of these cheap beers.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Exactly. It's horseshit.
You know, but so that being said, this one was popular when I was in college, and we used to get it by the keg for our fraternity, and it was Head to the Mountains Bush.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
To hell with your mountains. Show us your bush.
Which you could get. You could get a half barrel for, I think it was $45 in 1990-ish, 91, I think it was. And yeah, half barrel for $45. Now I can't get 2 4-packs for $45.
No way. It's ridiculous.
Bush had the best commercial ever.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
great commercial. The
after a
beer
long-
was water. Basically, now I consider that water. Like I could drink a Bush and, you know, register a 0.00001.
Oh, I know. That was one of the beers I could tolerate when I was starting to drink before I developed the taste for beer. But that commercial.
This calls for a celebration, Bonnie boy. Right, Fred? When you're due for a beer, Bush does it. You can't say beer better than Bush.
After a long
great
hard
commercials.
day, and that's back during the flip tops or whatever. What do you call
The
those?
peel tops.
The peel
top.
Right. I wonder how many people lost fingers or you know, from those things.
Yeah,
I got some cuts.
Bush.
Oh, Bush.
Love that peel top. The psh. Oh.
Yeah.
Brewed with an uncompromising commitment to quality. So don't just reach for a beer. Head for the mountains of Bush.
Yeah.
But you're right. Lots of stitches for people, right?
Right.
Great pick, though, Don. All right, Kev.
All right, just to catch a few things up, Schaefer apparently, like most of them, has been bought by Pabst. Pabst somehow has kind of absorbed all those little brands that we used to get back in the day. Bush Latte or Busch Light is actually an extremely popular beer these days. So it's not the old Busch, it's the light, but lovingly referred to as Busch Latte.
Latte.
All right. So now that we're caught up, I kind of went a little different here because when we were on a budget, we went the other way.
When?
Because back in those days, exactly. When we couldn't afford a case of Budweiser, because that's what you drank in 1984, period. When we couldn't get that, we would get a 6-pack of private stock Heffenreffers.
Oh, yeah.
Or P-Stock, Green Death, or as we called them, Heffenwreckers. Because they were, I believe, 5.9% ABV.
Yeah, for that day, that was the only high test. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they would mess you up for sure. A 6-pack would get you the same place as a 30-pack of Budweiser, basically. I don't think it helped any that they had the rebus in the cap there. You know, it was like the picture of the eyeball and the heart and the sheep. It was I love you or whatever. And some of them I still don't know. I mean, we sat for weeks. We'd put them up at the bar and people would like try to figure no fucking
like
idea
alien
what that
hieroglyphics.
Exactly.
Of some kind.
Sanskrit. But
Egyptian.
and I don't know. I tried to verify it. I don't know if it's true. The story I was told a million years ago, and parts of the story I know are true. Heffenreffer Brewery started back in the 1800s. A German fellow came over, started in Boston, actually had a free-flowing tap on the outside of the building. So you can just walk down the street and like haul off the tap of Heffenreffer.
Anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Spring.
Yeah, exactly. Like a spring. They ended up selling
empty gallon of milk with you.
Yeah, right. They ended up selling out after Prohibition kind of damaged them, but selling out to Narragansett. And the story I heard was that Heffenreffer kept the deal that the bottom 20% of every barrel of Narragansett would be Heffenreffer's private stock. Hence, that's why all the sediment was in there. Hence, why your head throbbed like you wanted to die the next morning. But also the fact that you could, drink 6 of them and be pretty much done for the night.
Right.
Yeesh. I see 5% now, and I'm like, oh, that's weak.
That's Budweiser
now.
Right?
I know.
Budweiser's 5%.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually called my Bud guy because I for some reason, I must have been thinking of something else. I thought Budweiser was 3.5, 3.6
So did I.
back in the day. He says no, but I don't know, and I trust him. But I felt like everything was like 5.9 felt like it was way beyond everything else.
Well, it was 0.9 beyond.
It seems like I think they fudged the numbers a little bit too, like back then when you saw a 5.9, it was probably a legit 5.9. Whereas now you see some of these 8s out there, they're really not 8s. They're probably in the 5, 6 range. You know what I mean?
There's 12.
They just sell it as a double 8, and it's really not probably. But
I don't agree with that, Don, because I know that if I buy like a Imperial IPA, I get into a lot more trouble than I do when I drink PBR.
There's some of them you're hallucinating after like 3 of them.
Well, the highest production I ever saw that wasn't barley wine was Founders out of Michigan has a beer called DKML, and it's a 14%.
Oh, yeah.
And I had it on tap for like a month before I realized that DKML stood for Dick Kickin' Malt Liquor.
Oh my God.
But it drank really smooth for a
after a
14% malt liquor.
So you drink one
that's
and
a
you
bad thing.
you drink one and you get a Dewey. It's brutal.
Yeah.
I had some guy arguing with me that I wouldn't serve it to him in a pint glass. I'm like, you're a fucking moron. It's just
those are sippers.
No.
And they taste more like a liquor than they do a beer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
They're not very
Yes.
the Imperials are not very smooth.
I bought a 4-packet case and keg about 3 years ago. It was called High Res, and it was 12. I drank the 4-pack, and as Mark once said, when I woke up the next morning, I wish I could make a replica of myself to beat the hell out of him.
That's what I was when I drank empty 2020.
Oh yeah,
my God.
that's where that line came from.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
The next day, I wanted to beat the crap out of myself.
Misery.
I didn't want to literally do it, but if I had a replica.
Depression.
That high res was actually really good. That was 5 points out of New York. Was a brewer. Good stuff. As long as you don't have anything to do the next day.
Mean and evil.
Like breathing.
All right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
moving on to number 3 to you, Mark. And this is going to be our favorite soda.
Yes.
Soda.
Yes. All of them. All of them. I mean, I'm going to come up with my pick, but I was legendary in my soda drinking as a child. It was bad.
As long as you don't name out brands, we'll be okay.
I was going to say, can you name them all off?
Right.
No, everything.
Nope.
No, I'm going to go with Coke in a 16-ounce glass bottle.
Oh,
a
yes.
glass bottle. They did not come in this plastic bullshit in the 70s.
Mhm.
Okay? Everything came in glass bottles.
So much better.
But I would drink any soda, and I just love the feeling of it going down my throat and just heavenly. And
You were an
unfortunately,
addict.
yes, yeah. And in fact, when I worked at the state, I was drinking 5 cans of Coke a day.
Ugh.
But I would end up, I guess you could call them quarterlies. It was pretty much quarterly. I would wake up on the weekend with the most incredibly painful stomach aches from all the soda I drank.
Yes.
And of course, did it teach me to stop drinking soda? Not for a half a second.
Awesome pick and a very good, obvious one. But the glass bottles is the importance. And before I move on to me, I want to tell a Mark story real quick. These glass bottles were so sought after that Mark would drive around the state and other states to find glass bottles of Coke because they were not as easily as accessible as they are now.
Correct.
AJ, no. It was Natural Light that I did that with. It was Natural Light beer, and I did that with Coke too, though. You're right.
I know I'm right, but I remember because I remember Cracker Barrel would sell them in like their little gift shop, and I remember finding them there, and you were pretty excited about it. But anyway, I'm going to move on to me. Now that you shot my story down. Anyway.
No, but you're right. I did both of those.
You also went to Providence, Rhode Island, so you could find duck pin bowling.
Yes, I did. Yep, and I did find it.
Yes, you did.
There you
go.
Persistence.
And another big one is chocolate vanilla twist. Mark would drive around the state and country to find different flavors of soft serve.
And not those 24 things. 24 flavor things.
Yeah.
You need it to come right out of the dispenser.
Yeah, pistachio at the Littleton Dairy Bar. I used to love that.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Pistachio
All right.
cake.
Now I'm going on a tangent. I'm just going to get to my favorite soda from back in the day. And this was also 70s, brother. And that would be RC Cola, also known alias AKA Aka Royal Crown. And this also had to be in a glass bottle. I just remember the caps, as you were saying with the beer, Kevin. This had prizes under the cap. You know, you'd get a nickel or you'd get a free soda. And
usually 10 cents.
Yeah, Royal Crown RC Cola in a glass bottle, and you still can find it here and there.
Yeah,
and it's nowhere near as good as it was.
It's
I'm
probably
nothing
bought by conglomerates somewhere,
right?
Formulas changed.
Oh, absolutely. It's nowhere near as good. RC Cola, I can still see the machine out in front of Corey's Market. Oh, what a joy. We lived right next door to our family's store. We'll get there later, too, so I'm not going to say any more. And I would go to you, Don.
So a good bottle story was from The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Yeah.
The Coke bottle fell and hit him in the head, and they thought it was the gods that were angry at him. And then at the very end of the movie, he went to the edge of the earth
and found it.
Throws the bottle. So my pick is also Coke. I love Coke. Coca-Cola,
Yes.
Which did have cocaine in it at one point, which must have been phenomenal. But I like it in a fountain soda. And I just read somewhere that McDonald's actually has the best because they get their syrup in a stainless steel container, and it makes their Coke fountain sodas a little better. I don't know if
it's more carbonated. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I love a fountain soda, but I wanted to bring up because we had the 1984 Decades series. Well, in 1985, the geniuses at Coca-Cola wanted to change the formulation. So it was in April 23rd of 1985, they changed the formula. They had many complaints that 79 days later, then they had to come up on July 11th, 1985 with the Coke Classic.
Coca-Cola
people were
Classic.
Like, you idiots. Why did you change? So
and they turned it into Pepsi.
People were like, people were hoarding it in their basements and, all that kind of stuff. Because they did like a taste test. They did 200,000 people. They did a taste test and they liked the new Coke or whatever.
Idiots.
But it just shows you that there's more than just the taste. It's the brand. It's the bottle. It's the fountain.
Perception.
It's the, Yeah, and it makes a difference. So they learned that very valuable lesson that
if it ain't broke,
they can
don't
come up
fix
with a formula that might taste better. People are buying Coca-Cola for a reason, and it's more than just the flavor. But I mean, that was a kind of an interesting event that happened in the summer of 1985 that I remember very clearly.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But I too like the glass bottle. That is a great way to enjoy a soda.
Of course.
I have a story, but I'm going to let Kevin go first, just in case.
Thanks. So I'm right in line. I'm going to follow off right where Donnie left because I have had a Coca-Cola addiction most of my life. I had a paper route, and the street I lived on was like 9 miles long. At the end of it, there was convenience store called Handy Dan's that later turned to Handy Ron's. Didn't quite rhyme as well, but whatever. I'd have some tips and I'd get down there. Wasn't allowed to have Coca-Cola at home. So on that walk back, I could have my ice cold bottle of Coca-Cola. Like Donnie said, in 85, I was definitely hoarding it in my basement by that time. There is a somewhat legitimate theory that they did it on purpose, because there was a secret ingredient and the FDA was coming down on them. And somebody said once, I read that they thought it might have been paregoric, which was a dental numbing agent or something like that. That they might have been that what they replaced the coca leaves with and whatever else. So they might have had to have changed that formula because of that, or that it was the whole thing was a marketing idea to get people, okay, you're not selling as much Coke. Pepsi's grabbing some of the market share. So we'll do this little thing and then really force everybody to redefine their love for Coca-Cola, which is ultimately what it did. Now, whether they were that forward thinking or they just really fucked up,
right?
Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
You would have had to have been in the room.
Yeah.
But interesting because so back in 1888, Mr. Pemberton was a morphine addict from his he was a colonel in the the Civil War, and had injuries and got addicted to morphine and was looking for a cessation drug. And that's where he allegedly invented Coca-Cola. But you get a little deeper, and there was a French Corsican coca wine that he kind of copied. And there was also a Spanish drink called Cola Coca that had both the cola nut for the caffeine and the coca leaf for the stimulant. And he just kind of switched it around. And 60, 70 years later, the Coca-Cola company just went to Spain and bought that name and was like, go away. So
I'd like to try the original.
Yeah.
Might have to go to Colombia for that.
Right.
Awesome pick. Well, just to finish this out, Coke is also my favorite. And I wanted to bring up the Pepsi challenge throughout the 80s. Anybody that picked Pepsi, I would also like to punch them in the chin. But anyway, we will move on.
So that was funny in the SNL where it was the blind taste test or whatever. Kevin, you referred to that with the Farley when he was like, "Hey, we gave you one decaffeinated coffee." He's like, "You bastards." I wonder if they have blind footage of those taste tests and how many they had to go through for people to pick Pepsi.
I know.
I'm sure.
Number
I'm
73 took Pepsi.
But how many times have you walked into a restaurant? Can I have a Coke? And they say, "Is Pepsi okay?" Have you ever walked into a place or heard anybody walk into a restaurant and say, "Hey, can I have a Pepsi?" And have the waitress go, "Is Coke okay?"
Yeah.
Right.
It does happen.
Yep.
Idiots. Yeah. All right. So we are moving on to number 40, you Mark, and that is going to be the one you're going to steal from me, and that's okay. As everyone out there knows, Mark and I are family. So this is going to be our favorite homemade meal.
Wait, you guys are related?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, so anyway, my favorite homemade meal is kibba, also known as kibby. Everyone knows it as kibby. We called it kibba for whatever reason. And I'm talking kibba nai, which is raw hamburger. My Lebanese family that immigrated legally to the United States, that we were kind of the poor people in Lebanon. That's why we didn't do lamb. So you can do it with ground lamb as well. But Mom used to make it, and Aunt Sil, they would make a sauce with it that was so good on it. Or sometimes you would put just olive oil, whatever that was. And we'd have it with Syrian bread and butter. And was it a rice pilaf, AJ, that we would have with that?
Oh, I mean, God. It was hashwa. No, that's the chicken one. No, that's the chicken one.
Yeah, that when she did roasted chicken. But oh my God, I crave this stuff. Yes, most people would be very squeamish about it. Oh my! Well,
Donnie is a fan. Donnie is a fan.
Oh, once you
Ben's
eat it,
a fan.
Valerie eats it. Anyway, I mean, usually it would come with other Lebanese dishes. I mean, it was never just a simple. I mean, in our kitchen and on the other side of the duplex, it was probably just kibbeh and rice and
Syrian bread.
the Syrian bread and But oh my God, I crave it. I crave it. I wish I knew how to make it.
Well, that's very easy to figure out, Mark, as our sister has the recipe. However,
okay, well, I have the recipe, but it just seems.
Well,
I use it. Okay,
go on.
You.
No,
I have a kibbeh spice mix that I can send you guys the recipe, and when I do saute hamburger, a pound of hamburger meat, I'll take a teaspoon of it, and it tastes very much like kibbeh.
Yeah, but
unbelievably
it's cooked,
good.
Damn it!
I understand that. No, you got to have it raw. You got to have it raw. I like everything raw.
So then, to me, just to finish up on what Mark said, because that's my obvious choice, but I'm gonna go with something different just to mix it up. But Mom always had that kibbe spice in a container in the freezer because it's literally like 50 different things, including Bulgar wheat. And it's not an easy thing to make, but they do sell it in a restaurant in Salem that makes it quite lovely. So
they make it
whenever I drive by, I just try to bring a bag of ice with me to keep it cold for the ride home. Kevin, you tried it at Donnie's house one night. I did bring some.
Yes, yes, I did. I mean, I like the general concept of it, the fact that it sat in the car on the way up, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's one of those things where fresh is kind of important.
Bunch of pussies. It was on ice. All right, but what I'm going to go with for mine, once again, big Lebanese family get together for huge meals with 20, 30 of us sometimes.
God rest most of their souls, unfortunately.
Yes, I know. Anyway, I'm going to go with grape leaves. Rolled grape leaves. My brother David always called them cigars. He'd put it in his mouth, pretend to light it, and do the whole thing. But you can still buy them from like Joseph's or Cedars at Walmart. I mean, or Market Basket. And they're just, the Joseph's ones are okay, but it's just not the same.
Not even close.
I mean, I remember seeing these things layered in a pan. I think Mom would put a little lemon juice over the top of them and just, God, just incredible Lebanese food. And always the Syrian bread was so important. It's still amazing. And I still grab it. Yes, fresh, unbelievable. But the sauce you were talking about real quick before I move on to Donnie was humsel. Like a red sauce that you would put on the kibbeh or kibbah in our world, but
in our society.
Society. But anyway, to you, Donald, for your homemade meal.
Cool. My parents weren't very good cooks, and
I always enjoyed eating over there.
Was over your house, and I had pondered using the kibbah as one of my favorites.
Nice.
But what my mom did make, she was good at making soups and stuff. So corn chowder was probably the favorite homemade meal that she would make. So that is kind of a New England staple.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Make yourself a good corn chowder.
Oh, and you want to know a great trick I learned with corn chowder, Donald? That Ricky's father used to do, and it's going to sound insane, but I dare anyone out there to try this. And if you don't like it, so be it. But Ricky's dad used to eat it with peanut butter toast. And he would dip it into the corn chowder. And for me, I need about 18 pounds of salt pork in mine. But other than that, I love corn chowder.
And butter. You got to have like good butter. Yeah.
Butter's good on
and salt and everything
on anything. What's up, Mark?
AJ and Kevin, you're both workers in the restaurant industry, or you were
not anymore.
I know, but my question when you order a clam chowder, are we talking homemade stuff usually, or are we talking out of the can and just jacking the price up?
It depends where you are. Most places make it fresh. Every once in a while, you'll get a bagged one. But
I think, unfortunately, a lot of them are doing the bagged ones now, which never made sense to me because that's an added cost. We used to make soups based on what we had left over and what was left for cut off from vegetables. It's like you prep up your celery and your carrots for the day, and then some of it goes into a soup. You do this with, you roast a chicken just like you do at home. You roast a chicken and then you pick the carcass and you make chicken soup.
Right.
So I
you
think
can
these guys
immediately taste the difference, too.
And that's what my mom used to do. She used to call it like the fridge cleaner soup or garbage soup or something. Yeah.
Like Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
My milk is lumpy.
You would never know what the Friday night meal was. It was just everything left over thrown into a pot.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Kev.
All right. So my favorite meal is a transmogrified meat sauce. It was actually a
big word alert. Big word alert.
I don't even think I used it right. So, it's transitioned is what I didn't want to say. My grandparents, my father's parents, actually got the original recipe from a chef on their honeymoon when they were up in Canada, Italian chef that was working in Canada. My grandmother then did her alterations to it. My father did his alterations to it and then taught it to me. And then I, of course, have perfected it. Now I've added to it. It's more of it's a kind of a mix between a Sunday sauce and a bolognese. So there are chunks of meat in there, but there's much more of a rich base than a standard bolognese. I spend like 3 days making it. The first day is just simmering down like a pound of garlic and onions and peppers, and then just simmering it down to the point where it's a mega thick sauce. And then, of course, there's hot Italian sausage and ground beef and the veal and all of that stuff in there. And it's just like, it's a meal. And I love it, and nothing makes me happier. As a matter of fact, I have some in the freezer. Maybe that's what I'll have for dinner tonight.
It better be a meal because it must cost a fortune.
Yeah, I don't think you could sell this and make. Yeah, I don't think so. It's pretty cost intensive to sell it.
Awesome.
All
But
right.
these family meals are just so important to us, man. Just,
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
I miss them, AJ, big time.
Oh, God, the gatherings. Me too, man.
Oh, my God.
Me too. Here we go, Mark. We're going to you for number 5, which is going to be our favorite candy.
All right. Well, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this one, but it's called the Willy Wonka Super Scrunch Bar.
Of course.
You guys do remember that. All right. Well, I mean,
Well,
it
we
was
remember the movie.
All right. Well, Willy Wonka came out with a bunch of stuff back in the 70s, and this is my favorite chocolate bar at the time. And it was discontinued in the early 80s, but it was crispy rice with peanut butter coated in chocolate, and it was goody good.
Yes,
it was delicious. The texture was absolutely perfect. I for some reason, I think Corey's Market didn't have it. I had to go down to La Flamme's Market there, and I bought it there. I never got the golden ticket or whatever that was called.
Right.
I mean, I was so pissed off, you know, I wanted to swim in the river of chocolate, but I mean, it's just one of those nostalgic bars that was so yummy.
Yes.
And did you guys ever try it? You guys are awfully quiet. Which one?
No, I haven't tried it. I just remember it. So.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
I don't remember it. Yeah.
I mean, I
that's
remember some Willy Wonka chocolate bars, but I don't remember the Super Scrunch bar.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
Got to remember.
the Snozzleberries tasted like Snozzleberries.
I used to go to the La Flamme's Market Mark is talking about, and was her name Josie La Flamme?
Josie La Flamme.
She
That's
would
so funny you
invite
say
me
that.
in every day as I'd be walking down the street, and she'd always give me candy, and that's probably why I remember it, because
She's on a vacation far away.
like I said, though, our family owned a store right beside us, which did not sell said candy bar. So I must remember it from La Flamme's Market.
Yes.
Oh, what a memory, man.
It's a
Littleton
restaurant
memories. Love it. I know. It was Stevie's restaurant, for a while.
Yes.
Stevie Simon,
do
our
know
cousin. All right. So to me, and this was very difficult for me, but I just wanted to go to something that really brought me back in time. There's two parts to mine. There are 2 parts to mine, and that is Fun Dip. Okay?
Oh, no. Yes. Seriously?
Shut up and listen, because the powder, I liked it. I would lick the stick. This is going to sound rotten. But
He loves
awesome.
to lick
Yeah.
the stick.
But
Oh, my God.
now shut up
I never
again.
knew that about you, AJ.
Just the 3 packages. I could still see the like funny face on the front of it.
Yeah.
But that candy stick at the end was the best part of this, man. I mean, you would just dip into that stupid powder. It was literally like fucking 3 packets of Kool-Aid. Okay. Pure
basically.
sugar hell. And everyone wonders why I was high strung as a kid, but just
Mainlining sugar.
Right.
the paddle, I will say, they gave you to dip into the Fun Dip.
Oh,
And
better
then
than
just,
stick, yeah.
but that piece of candy, candy will never leave me.
It was
just
amazing. And you had
I
to
don't
lick it because you licking it was what made the sugar
the
adhere
powder
to the
stick to it. Exactly. That's why I was trying to not be like phallic or anything, but
I don't
you
remember
know.
the flavor of the stick. Was it like a vanilla thing, or
If you were to
pretty
eat
plain,
it now,
yeah.
you would say it sucked. But it was still my favorite part.
slightly more flavorful than the wooden spoon that came on the top of the little?
The little
Cookie cups.
sundaes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Still makes me go, yeah.
Yeah.
AJ, what were the flavors of Fun
I
Dip?
honestly
I think I
couldn't
remember
tell you.
grape and cherry, but I
Cherry,
can't
yeah.
remember.
They did come
think
along
they had
and make
lemon
different
lime ones.
packs.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know?
okay. So there's
So you could get different packs, but I think the original was like grape, strawberry, and blueberry or something like that. But
grape,
maybe not blueberry, but God, I just loved it because it was like, I don't know, it was like a foot wide. You know what I mean? And you had 3 packages. It lasted for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like my second favorite, which I shall not blow here. Oh boy, I'm really on the fallacy here, aren't I?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was awesome. That's my pick.
I just did a search. It said,
that was a good one. That one had crossed my mind. Yeah.
It said fun dip ingredients. I'm like, I don't even have to look.
Kool-Aid.
Chemicals.
Sugar and poison.
Exactly.
Irish King wouldn't like this one. I'm telling you right now.
All right, Dongo.
All right. So mine, I don't know if I have the right name because there's probably multiple names for them. And I went very simple because during the Halloween cast, I kind of picked my favorite bar of some kind. But this is my favorite candy. So I went with just the simple Smartie. I think they're called Smartie Double Lollipops. So it's just like a chalk. Another thing you can call is like a chalk lollipop. Where it's like round. It looks like a UFO would look like, and it's got the little white plastic straw, and it's a chalky substance. It's probably like the fun dip solidified.
Are you sure
Like
this
yellow
is
on
not
top
the
and red on the
safety
bottom?
pop?
But those are good. They were good lollipops. I mean, they destroy the inner of your mouth because they were rugged. So they like the roof of your mouth would be all chewed up. Yeah.
Awesome. Is that Donald? That photo?
Yes, those are them. Yeah.
That's the one you speak of.
Yeah.
So
This
it's
is really
basically the
explaining a lot
Smartie
about you guys.
candies.
Smartie lollipops.
Yeah. Remember
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
Smarties, the little roll you got?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And they'd put 2 different flavors on one pop. So you
Yep.
had one color on the bottom,
Yeah.
one on another on the top.
And it was
Good
cool
one.
because the straw or whatever the pop thing was like plastic, so you could chew on it for a long
Right.
time after.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
But which brought something else to my attention. But once again, Kevin, I shall let you go first so I don't destroy
You are
anything.
so kind,
Yes,
AJ.
I know I
so
am.
kind.
Hey, you're in the number 4 spot, Kevin. It's a tough place to be. I
I'm-
get my
I'm-
turn next week.
I'm in the hole. So I'm gonna go with. I used to again. This was a end of my paper route Handy Dan / Handy Ron's. They were available there. It wasn't a lot of bang for your buck, but it was just kind of cool because it wasn't a regular candy bar shaped candy bar. It was the chunky. So it was like
I love
The
that chunk.
square.
thick square, right? So it was like 3-4 times as tall as a candy bar, but only quarter of the length of a candy bar, square. And it was chocolate with cashews, Brazil nuts, and raisins.
Yes.
So refined for my 8-year-old palate, but it's still like I haven't had one in a million years.
Oh,
And it just kind of stuck in my head. And I think the next time I see one, I will buy one and probably be massively disappointed.
No, you won't.
even
You
exist.
won't because I had one not that long ago and I was not disappointed.
Excellent.
Well, they're not as thick as they used to be, or as big and
Really?
Well, that's okay because I'm way thicker than I used to be
Here we
In the
go
head.
again, you ice holes.
in the head. And speaking of which, I'm just going to, because AJ, you do this all the time, so I'm just going to double down on mine. Also, remember the little ice cubes?
Yes.
The little
Yes.
chocolate? I don't know what
they
they
were on
did
the
to
counter most of the
Oh,
time.
they
Sorry.
were incredible.
I know, they
Melt
were
in your
literally
mouth.
Cool. It didn't matter if it was summertime. You put it in your mouth. I have no idea what they put in it. Freon? I don't know. You put a little piece of chocolate in your mouth, and it was like instantly cooling
Yes.
with that. And it was a very smooth and delicious chocolate.
Yes,
but
it was.
yes, had
Gold,
a weird
yes.
kind of. What's that?
Was the wrapper gold on the ones you're
I
thinking?
believe it was
Yes.
with ice written
Yes,
in red.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
amazing.
So it had some coolant in it or something, maybe some antifreeze.
Exactly.
Hey, let's make a chocolate called ice. Well, how are we going to make it cold? I don't know. Refrigerant? Glycol?
Glycol
Kevin.
unit involved.
Right.
I
Too
just found
funny.
the advantage to being number 4 in a show like this. If you're doing like a decade series, not so much, but in a show like this, you can expand. 'Cause
Yeah.
you already know what everyone picks. So
Exactly, which I'm
sometimes
about to
first
do.
shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Kevin was
So
picking
there-
on me about it, but I still have to go more. And that would be, remember the taffy sticks? Like they were huge.
Hated them.
And dots. Remember, I hated the
Hated
dots.
those too,
The dots stuck to the paper that you had to fucking nibble off. It was fucking terrible. But
Raisinette,
because
good and plenty. Movie theater movie.
There's a little bit of sugar, and here's some paper in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
Lots
are
of
so
movie theater candy. We should probably lay off because that could be a category.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right.
Also, the dots could be acid.
Right. Yeah. They look like drugs.
I'm 4 and I'm tripping balls.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So we're back to you, Mark, for the poor man's meal. And we all grew up here in New Hampshire, or most of us. Donnie came here a little later on, but I don't believe any of us were rich growing up. So we should be able to nail one of these.
Not only that, I'm not rich now. So. Consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah, right back at you. All right. So my pick for this is, I mean, you want to talk about budget. It's basically all you needed was some worms. You'd go out and dig some worms. Okay. I'm talking about brook trout. This is before I even fished. We're talking very early 70s, because I fished constantly and caught so many trout. But Dad used to go fishing up in Jefferson or whatever. He'd come home with these beautiful brook trout. And I've been trying to replicate this my entire life, AJ. And I'm telling you, I can't do it. She would wrap the trout in flour and then just deep fry them in a pan. Well, not deep fry them, but fry them in oil. And perfect every time. Absolutely delectable. And
I have nailed it, and I will help you because I got it pretty much down now.
Okay.
Yep.
And what does she serve with that? I mean, we're talking 50 years ago.
No,
50-something.
usually just a bowl of melted butter, but sometimes she'd do fries with it.
Well, fries.
Yep.
That's what I had on my list. And that's one thing I have perfected, AJ, is her homemade French fries.
Yes.
I would not choose anybody's French fries over Mom
Nor
and
would
Mark's
I.
French fries.
Incredible.
Not one place. Never. Not even Fair Fries.
Brook trout, though, boys, if you haven't had it, so unique and delightful with crispy skin and
Exactly. That was the best
no
part of it.
haddock there, Kevin. This is a real fish.
That's right.
I always rag on Kevin.
And back
because
then
I
they
had it.
probably were native.
I like all
too.
fish.
Yeah.
My question to Mark is, so you use the worm to catch the fish. The worm eats the fish. So
Well, the
when
fish eats the worm.
That's yes. That yes. you
Yeah,
are correct.
I'm
Bizarro
trying to
world.
feed my worms, Kevin. I send the worm out
So now,
to get a meal.
do you eat the worm when you cook the fish, or do you?
No, we got them. So the tummy comes out, you
I
I
know.
saw. I know you know.
You're a regular riot, Kevin. No.
Although I have fried worms.
Easy, Mark.
Oh, remember that How to Eat Fried Worms? Wasn't that a book?
It was a book. All right, you tangent.
Nobody likes us.
Everybody hates us.
I guess
I'm
we'll
go and
worms.
eat some. Yeah.
No, go into the garden and eat some worms.
Yes.
That's how Mom said it.
How about fish
my
heads? Since we're on this subject,
Roly poly fish heads.
yes, eat them up. Yum.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
They don't play baseball. They don't wear sweaters.
But yeah,
What
it's early for
incredible.
Mother's Day, but I have to say she was a great cook on most things and the
Yes.
sweetest woman you could ever meet.
Of course, good old Margmolia. Oh, Perky Peg. She was awesome for sure. All right. Now I got to go to me, and I'm going to go with another mummy meal here. And this is kind of ironic because I looked at it the other day at the grocery store, and it's no longer really a cheap meal. It's dried beef gravy.
It was good at that.
Oh, all it is dried beef in a thick cream sauce. And my favorite was over buttered toast.
Oh, you liked it over toast. I liked it over the potatoes.
Yeah,
so it's like the shit on the shingle.
Thank you very much.
Exactly.
That's where I was
Exactly
going next. Shit on a shingle. Some people call the sausage gravy that, but
chipped beef on toast.
Chipped beef on toast. I always hated people that had it over potatoes, Mark. Dad used to like it over the potatoes too. Idiots. So much better on the buttered toast because you had that. I mean, of course, you could butter the potatoes too, but they never had it over the mashed potatoes. They just put it over like mashed boiled potatoes.
Yeah, you mash it with a fork and put a little butter on it.
If it was like creamy pre-made mashed potatoes with butter, I might have liked it that way. But buttered toast, dried beef gravy. I really want to talk about another one, but I'll wait till everyone's done, and that's to you, Dongo.
Cool. So I hope I don't steal Kev's because I think I heard you say this a while back. But
Steal away the night.
But it's not the fancy one. This is the out of the package Oscar Mayer bologna. I loved fried bologna as a kid. Like my mom would just make fried bologna. Just the single slice, throw it on a pan where it bubbles up, makes a little bubble,
curves,
and pop the bubble. And the trick was to get it just so you could get it crunchy, you know, but not blackened totally. And then put some ketchup on it with a fried egg. It was amazing.
Well, you lost me on that one.
Donnie, I am with you, buddy. 2 against 2 here. Shut up.
Take your ketchup and go home.
I knew Kevin was going to flinch there.
Mom used to make it with like canned potatoes. Canned potatoes are underrated. They were really good.
But you want to talk about a cheat meal? Fried bologna, that was also on my list, Donnie. Amazing pick. And
awesome pick.
The poor man's meal of the poor man's meal.
Right. Not to be confused with the bologna steak, which is
very different.
Right. Yeah.
What do you consider a bologna steak?
You get like a half-inch thick cut.
Oh, you get the butcher
cut.
Okay.
We just don't slice it.
Right.
Just take a piece of bologna.
Very different, because then the middle wasn't crisp. You know? Like you want that crispiness. All right, Kev, we'll go to you before I.
So I'm going right there. I'm not changing. Mine, of course, my family had a much more racist name for it, but it's not a group that gets a little, hot under the collar. Being French and hearing French jokes, it was okay that we called fried bologna Irish steak. And first and foremost, I got to get this out that you guys are fucking wrong. You put ketchup on that, you're like fucking 2 years.
What do you do? Mustard?
Of course.
Get out of my room.
Kevin is absolutely right.
But the great part of fried bologna was, like you were talking about, you put it in the fry pan. There was no way to stop it from shrinking up and turning into a bell and then curving out on the bottom. So you had that crispy ring around the bottom. But the great part too is that as the oils and the heat built up underneath that dome, it would literally start farting in the fry pan. Which is how you knew it was time to flip it over and try to get the other side a little bit crisped out.
The top button part browned.
Oh, I'm sorry,
exactly.
Kev. I didn't.
No, it's perfect. It's great. What are the odds?
That shows how
from two different families, two different backgrounds.
Right.
It was on Mark and I list too, so that's all 4 of us.
I don't think people do it any.
Irish steak is undeniable. Fried bologna is undeniable. Matter of fact, I haven't had it in years. I need to go get some.
Yes.
I think that might be dinner tomorrow night.
Talking to Karen about our cousin Karen yesterday, and when I said budget meals was one of our category, she came right out with fried bologna.
Yes.
And it's like,
I just thought of something.
Maybe we should open a fried bologna stand.
Yes.
Like a truck, a food truck. Fried bologna food truck.
Poor man's food truck.
We'll have to do it in the ghetto, but
you order from this window on the back of the truck for ketchup, and you order from this window if you're a human being. And you want mustard
very
on
similar.
it.
Like bologna is a hot dog, basically.
Yeah,
right.
And
hot dog.
The argument is very similar.
And you don't put ketchup on hot dogs either.
In some part of this country, you do not put ketchup on a hot dog. Right? You
nobody,
put mustard.
but nobody Put
and
ketchup
onions,
on a hot
and maybe
dog.
sauerkraut.
Yes. But real quick, just to interrupt with the bubbling and all that, like, how come after, well, I'm 53, we never thought simply to put a plate on top of it to hold it flat?
I think, like Kevin says, it creates a dome where there's some kind of atmospheric thing going on inside that dome.
Too funny. Awesome pick, though, boys. That is such an important meal. And once again, I've been throwing in honorables after every round here, but
cheating essentially is what you're saying.
Well, yes, kind of. But just the fact that none of us took tuna pea wiggle.
Oh, that was good.
Or shrimp wiggle.
Saltines. It was.
So I see buttered toast for me, but saltines were not as bad as potatoes. I could eat it that way too. But,
and again, I think
many,
I've mentioned this before that my mother used to make tuna potato salad. And how poor do you have to be in 1972 to have to stretch out a can of tuna fish? We're not going to make it till payday. Give me one of them potatoes.
I would just have buttered noodles. I would love buttered macaroni.
Oh, that's
noodles.
a delicacy. Absolutely.
With salt. Yeah.
That's what.
Salt, pepper, parm, if you got it.
Yep.
Was it the Good Doctor that loved butter noodles? Remember that show?
I don't.
No.
It was. He was autistic, but he was brilliant. But anyway, AJ Visden Kufta was one of my favorites.
It's on my list too.
Which is,
and it's spelled Kafta. Mom loaded it with gunions.
What the hell is a gunion?
It's an onion.
Sounds like something on
with
your
a G.
foot.
Oh.
Onion with a G.
Oh, all right.
I can't believe nobody's talked about buttered sausage. What is it? Where does it come from? You guys obviously haven't seen Gary Busey.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, he is insane.
He's sitting there. He's like, let's talk about buttered sausage. What is it?
Let's talk about buttered sausage. Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does. Why is it doing what it's doing? Get it out of my face. Buttered sausage. It's not my jam. I don't buy jam. I buy honey, and I kiss it on the lips.
Where does it come from? It's like, what is going on with this guy?
He's a fucking
remember that song?
mad
He's
man.
gone.
So let's go to
deep
number
end.
7, right, boys? All right. Number 7 to you, Mark.
All right, this is favorite school lunches, and this wasn't even a half a second thought for me. This is in Lakeway Elementary School on Union Street in Littleton, New Hampshire. You never got there, AJ. We moved. I'm going with pizza burgers. Everyone was so happy on the day of
You need to
burgers.
explain deeply on these.
Oh, AJ, and I made them a few weeks ago. They're basically hamburger rolls. You put sauce on it, you put cheese on it, and you put ground hamburger on it. And you cook it crispy, and it is to friggin' die for.
And is there a top bun?
No. You
Okay.
cook it on one side of the bun.
So it's pizza.
Pizza burgers. It was so much better than pizza. I can't explain it. Everyone got seconds on this day. Everyone was excited about this day.
Yes.
And if you can't get excited with me, I can't help you.
No, that sounds delightful to me.
Oh, it's
I just
delightful.
wasn't sure if there was a top bun on it.
Of course, everybody got seconds because it was a tenth of the price of another meal.
It was absolutely to die for. And if you guys don't believe me, I'll make them for you.
No, I do believe you, brother.
So,
We're
like
all
an English
believing you
muffin
and
pizza?
agreeing. I'm just curious, like
It's whatever's
the
coming
pepperoni
to be expired.
Yeah,
food.
like,
Right.
like did they ever make pepperoni ones? Or Mark, we're agreeing with you.
I know I did. The last ones I made had pepperoni on them.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Did they switch it up at the school? Like one day sausage, one day pepperoni, or it was always Berg hair?
I think it was always Berg hair. And actually, when I made them with pepperoni, that was on sourdough bread. So, no, yes, you have to have hamburger on it, or you're not eating a pizza burger. And you can just get the hell out of here and just listen to me because I make sense.
But
And
did
you
they
don't.
use these questions are serious because they sound
Well, yeah.
amazing to me. Did they use the top and bottom bun? And did you have to
Yes.
did you
No,
only
they
get
threw
one
out
or
all the
did you get both?
You when you got seconds. I mean, I don't remember if we had 2 pieces of one.
Because I would
think we
want the
got 2
bottom bun without that crust on the outside of the top bun.
Well,
I
I'm
think it would
telling
be
you.
moister and more chewy with the top bun. but
Agree to disagree.
You got to remember though that the lunch lady was trying to feed the whole school for $29.07 a week. So I'm guessing she didn't throw out the top one.
You talk to anyone in the
That
class of
sounds
82
amazing.
from the great Littleton, New Hampshire.
I'm gonna
and
call
they will
him right
agree
now.
100,000,000% with me.
Ugh.
You call him up. Call him
I'm
up.
calling
Right?
him
There's
now.
probably some recipe book on a shelf somewhere up in Littleton High School or whatever.
Don't
Littleton
you-
School, right?
Pizza
you
burger. That
The
sounds
lunch
dope.
lady
I want to
at
make one
Lakeway
right
Elementary
now.
School. I am starting to get upset with you people.
Mark, I think you're misreading all of us.
We
We're
need to
all
make a
thinking
plaque.
how delightful
What was her
it
name?
is.
What was her name?
don't
We need to make
know,
a
I'm
plaque.
Guys, can you ever understand Mr. Gullibles where I'm just kind of pulling your leg a little bit? I mean, I'm just saying that it was the best lunch meal ever. It wasn't even close second.
It sounds delightful.
But I'm really not angry with you. I'm just getting excited and passionate because I love pizza burgers.
Yes. I want one right now, as a
I'm
matter
gonna
of
have
fact.
pizza burgers and
Okay.
Irish steak for dinner.
We can throw that pizza burger on our fried bologna truck.
Yeah.
We got a business
Take
going, guys.
Go
Yeah.
get some hamburger rolls.
Yeah.
But pizza sauce, some whatever cheese, mozzarella, cheddar, whatever. Probably
blend.
mozzarella.
A blend.
A blend, an Italian blend. Just a little bit of ground hamburger, some oregano, and whatever spice you might want to put on it.
Oregano.
I have a very important question, Mark.
Okay.
This is huge, really, when you think about it. Was Pizza Burger Day in lieu of Pizza Day, or did you have it like it? We all had Pizza Day
On top
on
of
Wednesday.
Pizza Day.
Not in Littleton. No, it was Pizza Burger Day. There was no.
So you just took away
Pizza
Day on Wednesday, and you had Pizza Burger Day. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Not a good trade. It's just mind blowing to me that
right.
Pizza could not hold a candle to Pizza Burgers.
Pizza could not hold Pizza Burger's jock strap.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I'm trying to keep this a little more family friendly.
All right. Well, we're going to meet.
Before I name somebody else's pick by mistake, let's move on.
Well,
all right.
I'm not going to say what my original one was because
I just said it.
You just said it.
Jock straps?
No. No.
Salt and pep.
I'm just going to go with my original, damn it. Because my favorite day was Pizza Day. And
nobody would have mentioned that.
It
Pizza
was-
burgers are different. They're different.
I understand that. We were just wondering if you had both, a Pizza Day and a Pizza
in
Burger
Littleton.
Day.
Not
But
in
anyway,
Littleton.
for me, they made a handful of the pepperoni. They never made as many as they did the cheese. And I would make sure that I raced to the cafeteria because if I didn't get pepperoni, I was going to get pissed. And it was the big rectangle slices. It wasn't a big round pizza. It was obviously, in a big rectangle tray where they made it. It was phenomenal. Just kind of reminded you of a big Elio's slice. But
without all that quality.
Yeah, they were. No, I would take this cafeteria pizza way over the Elio's. It was amazing. I have several others that I'm not going to bring up and be an asshole because you guys are picking on me for going with more at the end. So I shall go to you, Dongo.
Cool. And I was going to use the same one, but I was going to say that I don't recall any high school lunch that I enjoyed. Like I never found any
Cold lunch
enjoyment
guy?
in any of the school lunch.
I
But
had many.
the pizza day and the pepperoni was good, but the cheese pizza was like Elio's is not good, but neither was the school lunch pizza. The rectangle pizza was whoever invented the tray that school lunches were made on. Right.
Was way too thick.
They patterned the size of the slice of pizza to fit that square, that rectangle,
And engineers working around the clock.
Right? But the crust, like, it's not crust. It's like a white foam type of substance. It's like Wonder Bread.
Like Monsters of Rock pizza.
Slightly solidified enough to hold cheese. Like and Kevin will cringe on this too. Like, I use ketchup. Like, this is the only time I ever put ketchup on
now
pizza.
That's a sin.
Because you had to put ketchup
ketchup.
on pizza
Dogtown.
to make it edible. It was terrible.
Oh, see, I loved it. The pepperoni greased up the top. So lovely.
Yeah, that's the only thing that added any flavor to it, was that oil from the pepperoni. But yeah, I don't have good memories of that. And to just go on one other rant about how could anybody make a French fry that was just not in any way crunchy? You know, like it was like
not in any way fried.
Crinkle cut French fry that was white and just above freezing.
They were never crunchy.
I can help you with that, Donald. So what happens is the French fries are in the bottom of the chest freezer. So they get all of the ice crystals on them. Then you take said French fry, crinkle cut fry. Imagine what they'd be if they weren't crinkle cut. Put that in the oven just long enough to melt
the ice,
the freezer shavings into the wet, cold potato. And there you have the recipe for lunch lady
French fry.
Crinkle cut fries.
It says in the instructions,
yes.
Melt ice, done.
Be sure there's ample freezer shavings upon said fries.
It's like they have a running joke going on. Like, let's make these just warm enough.
They were never crunchy, Donnie. You're talking about the same school I am. I'm not.
Misery. No, we're just talking about how the lunch lady wants us all miserable.
So, you know what's amazing is as I'm looking around, I'm finding, remember the sheets that they used to give you that had like the whole month, or they'd posted on the wall?
Lunch, the menu.
Yes. So I saw those online from all over the country, and they were all the same. They didn't have pizza burgers. So Mark, you had an exclusive,
the winner
lunch lady. But I mean, there was like 6 meals, and that was it, and that's all you got. But universal, and I'm gonna guess that it wasn't just here in New Hampshire that everybody got soggy fries. I don't think there's a school where somebody was like, these things are so crunchy. These are delicious, nice and salty. And the other thing is, again, AJ, is cost effective. We got $29 to feed 800 kids. We can only afford pepperoni on 3 slices of pizza.
Right.
And that's,
you better
that's
get
it.
there
Everybody else,
quick.
everybody else is SOL.
Get there quick. All right, Kev, go to yours before I ruin anything else, because I want to spoil the rest of that
So
school
I had a
lunch
hard
menu.
time with this because, like Donald, there wasn't anything that was like being a foodie. And I love all food, and I will say pizza to me. No, I'm not going to say that. I had to go with fish sticks because if you drown them in enough ketchup, but with the caveat that
now
they
here
did
we
have
go.
good fish. Those are the one things that were
Ketchup
crunchy.
on
somewhere
fish.
along the line, I got a bad one.
Oh no!
And when you get a bad fish stick,
ruined.
You don't go back. You don't go back.
No.
So I did love the fish sticks with the proper amount of salt and ketchup. They were quite good until that fateful day where I
they
just
were
got
ruined
that
for life.
diseased fish stick, and that ended that love affair for me.
I must butt in here because as we have been picked on relentlessly for putting ketchup on bologna or anything else on the planet by Kevin, he is now putting ketchup on fish. So we're even, Kevin. You're not allowed
It's
to
a
say
fish
another
stick.
Yes, which would have tartar sauce on it.
Exactly, AJ.
You
Exactly.
could.
Right, but that's one
But
thing
they're
they
good
wouldn't
with
have
ketchup,
in a
too.
lunch.
Exactly.
No, they wouldn't.
Did they have
Sauce,
relish
look
and
at you like,
mayonnaise?
what?
No, that wasn't in the budget.
Right. We'll give you some relish and a scoop of mayonnaise.
Where else are you going to use relish in high school? Where else are you going to use mayonnaise?
Right. So now that we've all picked, let's go through the monthly menu or the weekly menu of tacos,
Taco Tuesday, Pizza Wednesday.
My other favorite on my list was hot ham and cheese, which was
literally they did a good job on that one, AJ.
It was a patty that you can still buy at Hannaford in a can of 6 patties.
Oh.
Yep, the round patty with melted, Kevin, you'll appreciate this, melted yellow American on a hamburger bun wrapped in foil to melt it all precisely together.
Right.
Those were quite delightful. But yeah, and fish sticks. So what do we got? 1 day left. What else did they serve us?
So it was Monday. Monday was no, you said tacos. I saw burritos.
The Sloppy Joe,
Sloppy Joe.
Yep, they did a
one.
decent job on chicken up there, I thought. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was pretty good.
In Littleton? Were they nuggets?
It would be the chicken. It would be the round chicken sandwich.
Chicken patty. I just found
chicken
that
patty.
one.
Yeah.
Chicken patty on a bun.
Oh yeah, the chicken patty.
Yeah.
Well, when I went there, they would serve chicken bone in.
I mean, burger.
Oh,
you get a
really?
burger, which again would be the zero flavor burger. That
the
was,
worst, like Bubba burger
just
you ever
grilled
ate.
to the point of like their cooking strategy is to make something just above the
legal
warm
limit.
temperature. When it's warm, then it's good.
Yeah.
AJ, do you remember when White Lightning played in the cafeteria for this like mixed musicians thing and you sang "Lick It Up" with me? Yeah, they served chicken that night out of the cafeteria.
Bone-in chicken too.
Yes, and it was not bad.
A rarity.
That is a rarity.
I think Guilford had breakfast like waffles that were good. Maybe
when we
French
grew
toast
up,
sticks
Donnie,
were-
in the high school, we had the hot lunch line, and then we had the break line. And the break line, they had like more options, which you could always get the hot ham and cheese over there, which is why I ate that on a daily
They did
basis.
have that little hallway going into that little entryway going into the hallway.
Yes.
And and they what else? They used to do Goody Good donuts. You remember that?
And bagels with blocks of cream cheese. I remember that because VJ got me into cream cheese and grape jelly on a Fargan bagel.
Yes, that's where I got into it.
Yep. Awesome. Well, that was a lot of fun, I thought, man. That was something we were questioning, and it just really, I think, came out to be very enjoyable and, like I said, a lot of fun. Mark, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, AJ. That was awesome, and I love talking about food.
Yeah, and Dongo?
Good times, man. Thanks.
Indeed. And Kevin?
Hey, thanks, man. I had a great time.
Yeah, so much fun we're having with this, and we cannot thank you guys enough for the downloads. And please, like I said, we just created that page on Facebook, which is Past Timers at 80s High. And then, of course, visit our website, pastimes at 80shigh.com. That is the number 80 and then S. And then, of course, our email, pta80h@gmail.com. And I must say this twice every time. pta80h@gmail.com. Come on, reach out, get involved with us because we're starting to take those phone calls, like I said, and hoping to get some more people involved with our stupid antics here.
Audience participation.
Yeah.
Let us know what you want to hear.
Exactly. Criticize everything. We want all types of input. But awesome, boys. So much fun. Love hanging out with you guys. And we are out.
Out.
No student can escape the magic of Large Lady Land. Oh, hoagies and grinders, hoagies and grinders, hoagies and grinders, navy beans, navy beans, navy beans. Hoagies and grinders, hoagies and grinders, navy beans, meatloaf sandwich, sloppy Joe, sloppy Joe, sloppy Joe. Sloppy Joe, come on. Sloppy Joe, Sloppy Joe, you know.
You've been listening to Pastimes at 80s High. Our passion is the nostalgia from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s. When times were more simple, times were more fun.
Hey, bud, let's party.
And we weren't stuck in our phones all day.
Inconceivable!
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can send an email to pastimes@80shigh@gmail.com and hit the website at pastimes@80shigh.com. See you next time.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.